Oh, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gabriel, Channel Fan TV, man. Back at you another video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the videos, man. Let's get into today's topic. And obviously, it's going to be what happened yesterday in that Ravens vs. Colts game. Give my thoughts on the good, bad, and ugly. And yeah, man, let's just go through it. All right. So, Ravens lose to the Colts, 22-19, in a game that obviously Ravens were favored to win. I know the Ravens are missing, 9 starters and things like that, but this is a Colts team that is in a rebuilding phase. They're without their starting quarterback. They had a backup quarterback in there, Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew is, a veteran. He's more experienced than the rookie that they were starting, of course. But this is the game that the Ravens need to win. This is the game when you look on the schedule and say, okay, look, this could be a quote unquote trap game, and the Ravens need to find a way to get out of that trap. Um, to me, this has kind of been the same old Ravens, not excuse, but the same old Ravens way of being, right? They come off a really good win versus a good team versus the Bengals, you know what I'm saying? We're riding high on the emotions. We're feeling good about it. Okay, cool. We got a team that can compete, turn the corner. They come out here versus a Colts team that honestly they need to get out the way early, and they don't do it. They allow them to hang around, and end up losing the game. All right. Now, several factors go into losing this game. So let's just talk about the good, right? All right. The good, offensively, that first quarter, I really love what they did. Lamar Jackson was on point. I think he was, 7 for 7 first quarter, 89 yards, something like that. The offense was good. It was in rhythm. It was in flow. They were moving the ball up and down the field on this Colts defense, right? The Colts defense coming into this game was averaging almost 288 yards a game through the air as far as giving it up on defense. And the Ravens looked like they were going to throw for, 280, 300 yards a day the way they were moving the football. Everything was going good. I thought the flow was nice. They was mixing it up. They gave some different looks out there. Gus out wide. Just to give the Colts some different things to look at out there, right? Then boom, they mix in King and Drake. King and Drake breaks off a big play, kind of on a dump off screen kind of pass from Lamar, and he fumbles down the field. Now, once he fumbles, the whole entire game changes, right? The Ravens, all that momentum that they had on offense, wow, out the window, just like that, right? So, in a sense, right, this game was kind of like the game last week, right? Where the offense came all hot first quarter, second quarter it died down completely, and the only difference is last week that third and fourth quarter offense picked it back up. This week the offense did not pick it back up, right? All right. So, good for the offense, like I said, first quarter, things like that, great. For the defense, I thought the defense played pretty well the entire game, except for the run defense wasn't good enough on Zach Moss, right? Zach Moss had, got the stats right here. Zach Moss had 30 carries for 122 yards, right? And he also had 2 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown, right? They allowed Zach Moss to get off too much, right? It was too much of everybody. Zach Moss run through the middle, right? Or the play would be designed up the middle, and then the Ravens will lose contain on the edge, and Zach Moss will break it around the edge. He did that about 3 times, right? So that's the biggest complaint I had for the Ravens defense. I thought Kyle Hamilton was on his way to having a pretty much a legendary kind of game for a defensive back, if we're being honest, right? So Kyle Hamilton had, he had 9 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 1 pass deflection, 1 forced fumble. He was supremely putting himself in the mix of being defensive player of the week, right? That was on the way for him, right? So that kind of performance is wasted in a loss, right? That is what it is. I thought the defense did what they could. Now, listen, this Colts team scored 22 points, but we're talking about 5 field goals or 4 field goals. Like, they had to really, really struggle for their points, right? I think it was 5 field goals, actually. So, yeah, they had to really, really struggle for their points. This game is kind of on the Ravens offense, right? If we're going to be completely honest, all right? So, the Ravens always had multiple chances to put the stamp on in this game. We could talk about end of the fourth quarter, right? This comes down to coaching mistakes, right? All right. Ravens get a safety, right? 19-16, Ravens get a safety. Coach got a punt, to do the safety punt, right? It's like 2:03 left on the clock, something like that. Harbaugh says that the communication to the players was to call fair catch because they originally it was like 2:01 that it gets you to a 2 minute warning, right? The referees add time back on the clock. Now it's like 2:03 or something like that on the clock, or 2:04 maybe. It's 2:05, something like that, where it's extra seconds added onto the clock. The Ravens could not communicate to Zay Flowers, say, hey, look, they added extra time, so do not call fair catch. Catch the ball, run around for a little bit so we can get to 2 minute warning. That did not get communicated to Zay Flowers, right? So Zay Flowers, going following orders, calls fair catch. Okay. Now it's 2:01 left, and the Colts only have one timeout. But essentially, they have two timeouts because the Ravens still got to run a play to get to 2 minute warning, and the Colts get to call their last timeout of the game. All of that happens. Then the Ravens end up getting a penalty on that drive, which stopped the clock, giving the Colts more time. So not only are you in control of this game, 1916, run the clock, get out of here. You have compounding mistakes on top of compounding mistakes, which allows the Colts back into the game. Ravens got a punt, Colts go down, they get their field goal. All right. So that was extremely disappointing. All right. I've talked about it multiple times. We got to be honest here. The ball handling from Lamar Jackson was disappointing. I love what Lamar Jackson did through the air. I don't have many complaints about what he did through the air as far as passing. I think the sorry, I think the pass to Zay Flowers early in OT that went behind him. I think that's a miscommunication between Lamar and Zay Flowers. Lamar sees the blitz coming. He probably wants Zay Flowers to settle down right there. He could hit him. Zay Flowers will turn the field. Zay Flowers saying, okay, look, I got all this open space. I'm just going to run the slant. Lead me. That's a miscommunication between quarterback and receiver, right? I don't think that was an inaccurate ball that Lamar Jackson dismissed, all right? So I didn't have too many complaints with Lamar Jackson throwing the football, all right? But as far as the ball handling, we cannot put the ball on the ground every week as a quarterback. We can't do that, right? And Kendrick, the same thing. Kendrick, he fumbled. He just got here. The guy that we were worried about fumbling, Melvin Gordon, didn't fumble. So, that was a twisted tale. But you can't put the ball on the ground every week. The Ravens fumbled, I believe, 3 times in total, and they lost 2 of them. That's big plays. That's big plays. One of them is the one that put the Colts in scoring position early on in the game. You can't have these kind of plays. You just can't have these kind of plays, right? So the ball security thing is something that they have to get addressed, right? You can't put the ball on the ground that many times. You just can't. Like Lamar Jackson doesn't put the ball in harm's way through the air. He really doesn't. He's smart with the football. He can read the defense. All of that good stuff. But just not simple, but just regular ball handling things, he's kind of loose with the football, right? I mean, every game this year, he's put the ball on the ground. Every game. We can't have that. You know what I'm saying? We got to be honest. Like, I love Lamar Jackson. He's the best quarterback race franchise history, all of that. But we got to be honest about certain things that even he needs to get better at, right? Okay, so you have that. And then so all that happens, right? Ravens get another chance at OT. Now listen, this is the play that all Ravens fans will talk about. I get it. Zay Flowers was blatantly held by, I think it was EJ Speed, the linebacker on the Colts. He turned him and hooked him as Lamar threw the ball to him. That is a pass interference, automatic first down. Ravens keep driving down the field, probably getting range for just like a field goal to win the football game, right? All of that is true, right? The referees absolutely blew a crucial call in a game that probably won the Colts the game on that play. If we're being completely honest, that probably won the Colts the football game, right? 100%. At the same time, why are the Ravens in overtime versus this Colts team? Why? I can't even say since John Harbaugh has been the coach. It's just since I can remember being the Ravens fan, but we can say since John Harbaugh has been the coach, right? We don't even gotta go back to Brian Belichick. We can say since John Harbaugh has been the coach. This Ravens team has had issues of playing down to their competition, right? We saw it. We saw it last year. We could talk about who was it? Broncos game when weren't a good team. We could talk about Panthers game what wasn't a good team. Ended up winning those games, but they weren't good football teams, right? All right. And the Ravens at home, this iteration of the Ravens team, these last couple years, they have struggled at home for whatever reason. That doesn't make any sense. But when it comes to home games, they don't put on for the home crowd, right? I don't know why they're better on the road. I don't know what it is. Whatever they're doing, whatever the preparation is for the road games, they need to make that for the home games because I'm not seeing it, right? But this is a major issue. They play down or play up to the competition. The Ravens need to set a standard and play at that standard, right? When I see the Ravens go against, so say Ravens were going against the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles. I'm just naming the top teams in the NFL, Cowboys, whoever you want to say. But you know the Cowboys just lost to the Cardinals, but whoever you want to say, I don't worry about those games. I don't really have concerns about those games, right? Which is crazy to say. I worry about when the Ravens are going to play the lower teams. You know a Texas team or whoever you want to say is maybe the Cardinals, whoever you want to say is a bottom of the league kind of team. Those are the games I worry about, right? Because when the Ravens come down to playing big competition, they don't embarrass us and usually get blown out and don't show up. They don't do that, right? They have a respectable showing. They even sometimes play great in those kind of games. But when it comes to games where Ravens are the heavy favorite, they need to blow this team out. They don't do it. And it's kind of the same old Ravens, right? We haven't had a season. I've only can really remember one season in John Harbaugh's really era where the Ravens, it doesn't matter who was in front of them, they were playing to the standard. That's 2019. I hate to keep bringing up this damn season, but that's the season, right? The Ravens had a standard level of play, and they played to that standard no matter who they was going against. Good team, bad team, didn't matter. They haven't found that standard again. Sometimes they play up, sometimes they play down. You can't be a championship football team like that. Listen, everybody loses in the NFL. You know, I'm not saying the Ravens are the only team to lose to bad football teams. I'm not saying that. But this is a consistent and constant issue with the Ravens, right? We got to be honest here. It's a consistent and constant issue. Some of these games they end up winning, but it'll be a knockout, drag out fight that it shouldn't have been. This game they ended up losing. You let teams in the NFL, because these are NFL players on both sides of the ball. You let teams in the NFL hang around for this long, it's going to catch up to you, and they caught up to the Ravens. So my thoughts on the game is simple, right? The Ravens lose more starters. Odafe was out. Sorry, he was already out of the game. David Ojabo was injured during the game. They said Rashad Bateman got hurt, but I think he ended up being fine. He was on Twitter talking about he's fine, whatever. So, but they lose David Ojabo. I think in like the second or third quarter, he doesn't return to the game. So this Ravens team, this historically injured Ravens team, is heading down that path of being historically injured again. We'll see if guys that were week to week can come back. Okay. At the end of the day, the Ravens had enough good players out there to beat this Colts team. They had enough good players out there to beat this Colts team. They did. All right. Last thing I want to talk about is play calling with Todd Monken. All right. I like what Todd Monken does. I like what he does as an OC. But in this game, the Colts defensive line was getting after the Ravens. They were getting after Lamar Jackson. And he still decided to send out 5 receivers. When I say 5 receivers, I mean, 3 receivers, tight end, and then even a running back out the backfield. They needed an extra guy to block. It's simple as that, right? When it came to throw the football, Lamar Jackson simply didn't have a lot of time yesterday. All right. Now, I was advocating for on a live stream on Twitter, leave Pat Ricard in the game. Have him on the hip of Pat McCary as a 6 offensive lineman, or hell, have him stand next to Lamar Jackson in the backfield. He's not a passing threat. I know that. The defense can call out pass if they want to. Have him back there to be a 6 blocker to give Lamar Jackson time and give these receivers time and a chance to win down the field. The Ravens couldn't throw the ball down the field at all because they had no time for the routes to develop. This Colts defensive line, I told y'all before the game, they had, averaging 4 sacks plus, a game. This is a good defensive line. And I felt like the Ravens were being stubborn. Kept sending out the running back. Kept sending out these 5 offensive linemen could not block the Colts blitz or the Colts 4-down rush. So why keep sending out 5 people into routes? You need to have some people block. Leave Pat Ricard in the game. You have 6 blockers, 6 solid foundational blockers who could pick up anybody. I thought that was a major mistake. So that's my thoughts for the game. It's for me, offense and coaching as far as Monken and John Harbaugh, because John Harbaugh, this is your team. Your team every year cannot come out flat against bad teams. Well, they didn't come out flat. They started the game pretty hot. But after that, they can't be flat against bad teams every year. We just say, oh, it's only the players' fault. Right? John Harbaugh has to take some of this responsibility. Okay, so that's my thoughts on this game. It's an up and down game. It's kind of the same old Ravens, if we're being honest. And it's disappointing because I thought we had turned the corner and we were going to see something different. But listen, man, that's my thoughts on the game, man. Give me y'all the guys' thoughts on the game. There's a player of the game is Kyle Hamilton, but it's unfortunate because it lost. It was lost, so it's fortunate we don't even get to talk about that more. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the game, man. I'm gonna get out of here. It's Gabriel, just on Fan TV. I'm out.